You've heard our roar, you've seen our mascot, you know our name, our chants, our legends, and you want to be a part of it. But with so many paths to Penn State, where do you start? Welcome to the War Room, hosted by yours truly, Ashley Lesniakowski. In each episode, Penn State faculty, experts, and students answer your biggest questions about the journey to a Penn State degree. They'll break down the tough answers and complicated what-ifs that keep you up at night, from application to graduation and everything in between. Your spot in the student section is waiting, and we're here to guide you there. At Penn State, we're loud and proud, so join us in Nittany Nation. Welcome to the Roar Room.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Garvin. I'm the Director of Ancillary Services for Housing and Food Services at University Park.
Very nice. I did not know how to say that word, by the way.
Nobody
Pronounce it.
Nobody knows what ancillary services means.
What
So-
does it mean?
Yeah, so I oversee the Housing Assignment Office,
Okay.
the Commons Desk Operations,
Mhm.
and Conference Services for Housing. So we have another division for maintenance and daily operations, and then capital planning and renovation projects.
That sounds like a lot of stuff.
Yes, so that's why we have 3 divisions.
Yep. So sounds like a lot, which I love that for you. But I do know that housing is probably one of the most exciting parts of an incoming student's experience. You and I were talking before we even got recording about how I was a Penn State graduate and I loved being on campus and being able to communicate and connect with people that were around me, and that was such a great thing. But I do know for a lot of students that maybe that's not what they want to do. So the question is, do you have to live on campus when you're coming to Penn State?
Yeah, so at University Park, we do have the first year residency requirement, and that is a condition of the offer of admission. So we do expect that first year students live on campus. There are some exemption opportunities for students, but it's very specific. And we really want the student to live on campus. It is a really great way to transition from high school to higher education and to have the support services that the university provides.
Jumping over because I love this number. It makes me giggle every time I see it. How many students live on campus?
Right now, we are housing around 15,000 students at University Park. And we are in the middle of a renovation, so we have 500 spaces offline.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yes, so at some point we might hit 16,000. And we usually have more contracts than we actually do beds because we know that
Right.
students are going to cancel. So we could have up to 16,500, close to 17,000 contracts that we are managing on a daily basis.
Wow, that's a high number. I mean, Bert in the last episode, a lot of numbers, and I'm not someone that's good with numbers. I'm in social media for crying out loud, but it just blows me away every single time I hear those kinds of numbers. Um, and that's a lot of first year students, right?
Yes, yeah, we reserve around 10,000 spaces for first year. So we have to plan ahead. So right now, it's only September. We're already planning our next year process and thinking about like how many upper class students would have the ability to return. So we have limited space for upper class, but it is a very complex process that we're managing.
Right. And I mean, like you said, this is at University Park, like as it is. So, I mean, I know that not every Commonwealth campus has housing, but I know obviously Barron does because that's where I went. But off the top of your head, where are the other campuses you can live on campus?
Sure. So Barron, Beaver, Greater Allegheny, we have Altoona, Harrisburg, Hazleton, Berks, Schuylkill, Brandywine, and Abington.
Schuylkill is such a fun word.
Yes, it is.
If you aren't from PA and you don't know what that is, it's not the way it's spelled. Google it. I promise you, it will send you to the moon. So I love that.
You're so, I love when people look at it and they kind of look at you like, I don't even know how to
How
say
do you
this.
say that? Like how like that's I get that question on my personal life, and then I get to work and I'm like, hey.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, my last name's 12 letter long. So
yeah.
we don't it's Polish. We don't gotta get into that one. But so Alrighty, so that means that there's a lot of options. So if you don't want to be at University Park or you end up wanting to do the 2+2 program, that means that you don't have to be, coming and commuting then, which is a great option,
Yeah,
especially for.
absolutely. Yeah, there is a residency require with Schuylkill and at Barrand,
I
and
did not know that there was one at Barron. I didn't realize
that
that.
came after you left.
Ah, see, that's
Yeah.
that's new. All right, good. Don't say that.
Yeah.
So old. Oh my gosh, but it is what it is, right? I mean, things change, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast is because there's so much stuff, and there are people like me that are advising their friends or cousins or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this is how it was whenever I was around." Guess what? It changed. It's not the same anymore, but that's we love that. So, all right, next question. What is a living learning community? Because I have no idea what that is.
Yes. So, a living learning community, or LLC, as we like to affectionately call them, because everything has to have an acronym. It's a group of students who we house together in a building, either the whole building or on a floor, and they have a similar academic focus. So, it could be liberal arts, it could be science and engineering, we have education, earth and mineral sciences. So, all students have access to programming and events that our Residence Life team put on, but these LLCs offer like another layer of academic and social opportunities that could be focused on majors or just for fun. They could do a field trip, they might have dinners together. Some of them have like a governing council, so you could be the president, there's treasurers, and they have activities, they do field trips. They have a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
It
That's like a
is.
built-in organization within the residence hall.
Yep, and there's no additional fee for it.
That's
So,
fantastic. 'Cause I
yeah,
could have been put laced with a lot of different business people, which is, great. And I could have, the first week of classes known some of my classmates without
exactly.
going to class and have like that. That's great.
Yeah, and they could have study sessions in the hall. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it really helps, I think, provide another opportunity for students to connect with others.
Right.
And some of them have the benefit where they can return to that living environment the next year.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's very cool.
I love that. That makes me so excited. I can't even tell you how excited that makes me. I did not know that was a thing. I'm gonna have to start pushing that everywhere because that
Yeah,
is
we have about 20 of them.
those are
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Now, some of them I will say have a secondary application, and those have a deadline for submittal. And we work with the supporting college to determine who gets placed in some of those LLCs.
Got it. I love that it's an LLC because I mean, if you're a business major, that's
Yeah.
even that's.
Yeah. It's called BASH, Business and Society House.
I love that. I love that so much. And that kind of makes that kind of like community aspect of it and helps with like, transitioning into college
Yeah.
because for a lot of people, they're like, I have to start completely over. Because
Hmm.
if I'm coming from Ohio and I know absolutely no one because no one in my small school decided to go to Penn State, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but I mean,
Yeah.
but, I just I love that. I can say it a million times over. I love that so much. So, when you are applying to Penn State and you get into Penn State and you are like, "Okay, I'm going to go to campus." Let's say I'm going to University Park. Where do we get started with the living on campus process?
Well, we try to make it as simple as possible. The Housing and Food Service HFS contract, sorry, that's the full name. We'll just call it the HFS contract. It's included in the offer of admission. So as the student goes through the acceptance screens, it's right there and they can accept it and they pay their admission and deposit fees and they're done. It's kind of
Yeah.
several steps at one step.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they can go into our system. We'll send them an email welcoming them to Penn State and say, "Hey, the fun part, you get to look at the LLCs that we have. You can put in your preferences, and we'll give them the link to our e-living system, and that's where they can go to make those modifications."
I love that. I remember that whenever accepted mine, I'm now remembering this because we did the residence halls and then we also set up the meal plan
Yep.
and everything all in like one screen, which is great. But I also remember that since my sister went to University Park, so I was kind of going into on untreachery, like what is it, untreated territory, whatever the word is. But it was new for me and it was new for my parents and we were like, what is going on? We didn't know anything. So having all the resources to kind of learn what all of the options were was great. And really, really awesome. So I know that we get to do preferences for the residence halls. What happens if a student doesn't get their top pick? Can they ask again?
Yeah. So, our housing preferences, we're just not able to guarantee them just because we are dealing with about 10,000 students. So, there will be more demand for certain options than others. So, we do have 5 different areas on campus: east, west, north, south, and Pollock, right? We ran out of
Right.
directions, that where first year students live. We do have some other areas, but they are for upper class. But of those 5 areas, so students have the ability to indicate a preference for 2 of those areas and then a corresponding room type. But that's what, again, we can't guarantee. For instance, East, we might get over 7,000 students who want to live in East. And
I get it. I've seen these. I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, but we can only usually take maybe 4,200 of them.
Yeah.
So that causes a lot of students, they get sad, or disappointed that they didn't get into the area.
You're still going to Penn State.
Yeah, and
Like, let's look at the bigger picture here,
yes,
guys.
I honestly love to see when people post on social media, "Oh, my kid didn't get East," and then other parents chime in and say, "Hey, my kid was in West, Pollock, South. They had an amazing time." It's what you make of your experience. Like, your room isn't gonna make your experience better, right?
Right.
You could have the
It's a room. It's
it's a
four
room.
walls.
Yeah.
Like you're there to study and all the important memories. Like, yeah, I have memories, in my residence hall, but like a lot of them weren't in there. And I
Mhm.
remember them because they're on my Snapchat memories, and that's about it. But all
Yeah.
the good ones that come to mind, not in my residence hall.
Yes. And, a lot of people put so much energy into the decoration of the room,
Yeah, especially
and
with social media now.
yeah, there's a lot of pressure for that, and it is kind of unfortunate because it's the experience
Right.
that matters. It's not
Right.
that you have matching bedspreads, but some people that's really important to them, and that's great.
Right.
But it's hard when other people feel that pressure, and they shouldn't. So no matter where a student's assigned, they're going to be with other first year students, and they're going to have all the same opportunities. And we really try to emphasize to people, you without being, negative, move past,
Right.
look at the bright side. There's
You're
some
going to Penn State.
state.
You're going to college. This is a very exciting chapter. It's not the end all be all.
Yes.
And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, it is a room with 4 walls. You sleep there, and that's the most important part of it. Because I mean, yeah, I spent a lot of time. I can't actually don't. I did not spend a lot of time at my desk in my residence hall. I went to the library. I went
Mhm.
to study with my friends up in like the common areas. I was never in my room. Now that I think about it,
And that's great because, explore what's available on campus. There's so many nooks and crannies,
right?
and I think it's important for kids to get out of their room
Right.
and go somewhere and yeah.
Campuses are such a great that's one of the reasons why we're at college. We get to go experience like this new place. And with like I can say for Barron, like it took me 4 years to figure out every nook and cranny on that campus. And I was only supposed to be there for 2. So I couldn't even tell you. Like I would not have known every single inch of that campus if I hadn't been there for 4 years. But
Yeah.
I also left my room and I did those things. So yeah. So I mean, I love that, I don't know. If I could go back, I would. I tell that to people all the time because it was just, I met a lot of people. I met my best friend in my
Mhm.
residence hall. We were talking about that. Shout out Camille. Um, and she and I are still friends. She came to my sister's wedding.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is like that's the kind of thing that you're going to find in a residence hall. So it's not about the matching bedspreads. It's not about the headboards. It's not about the walls being decorated, the things. It is about the people that you're living with, which is something I hope that whoever is listening to, if you're going through that process and you're like, I didn't get East, I'm so sad, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just a-okay. So now let's talk about this because I do have some experience on this. Can I change my room assignment after I move in?
So, I'm going to kind of go back a little from that is we'll post room assignments for fall about mid to late July. And we don't accept requests to change. So people call, email, can I change? We just can't. We physically don't have enough staff to manage those. So what we've done is we put our energy into a room exchange e-board feature in the e-living system. So once we post room assignments, this e-board is available for students, and they have two options. They can request to switch with a specific person, or they could post their room and look for other students who posted their rooms. And if they see somebody that they're like, "Hey, I want to live in that building," they can request a room switch. So it's really a great opportunity for students to manage their room assignment without us having to be involved.
Right, right. And I know, because at the same time, when you're doing this, this is also an opportunity. If you find out that someone else in your high school is going and you're like, I want this roommate, like we want to live together, you can put it on the board and be like, hey, I want to live with this person, specifically request this person, problem solved.
Yes.
So I know we have a question. One of those is I know somebody I want to live with. How do you live with someone if you know who you want to live with? How do you go about requesting that?
Yeah, it's simple. You just list their Penn State Access account, and as long as it's mutual, we will
Gotta
assign
go
you
both
together.
ways. Gotta go
So
both ways.
we get a lot of questions about that. Someone will call and say, I requested Bob and Bob requested me, and, why aren't we together? And we're the ones that have to say,
Bob
Bob
didn't
didn't
want to
request
reunite with
you.
you.
Yeah. Now, whether, most of the time, maybe Bob just wasn't comfortable to say,
Right,
I don't want to live with you. Or maybe Bob forgot and
right.
just didn't do it.
So it sounds like you need to talk to Bob.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's why we have the e-board though,
Right,
because Bob could just have missed that opportunity. So
right.
then, you can go in and request a room switch with Steve, his roommate.
Hmm.
And if Steve agrees, then I can be in Steve's space with my friend Bob.
Right, right. And I mean, I know that that's happened to a couple of people that I went to school with. And I know that my roommate actually left mid-semester my
Hmm.
second year. And that was interesting because I had the room to myself for the rest of the year. I was like, "What is happening?" And then I got a random roommate, and that was a whole situation. So, I think this is a good like transition into it because my situation with my second roommate that year was not great, and we did not get along very well. So how do students deal with like, or is there faculty in the residence halls? Like, how would they like need like a third party to help out with the roommate situations? How does that work for them?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, the first thing that we always recommend for students is to complete a roommate agreement form.
I found mine in the basement the other day, by the way.
I love that you still have
I have it still.
it. um, this is one of those conversations when you tell a 17, 18-year-old that they should have this conversation with their roommate. We get a lot of eye rolls that, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." But honestly, it is the best thing to do because you're setting expectations.
And
And
boundaries.
yes, and, so that's the first thing, but to get to that point even, we have residence life. So we have a department of professional staff that oversee the living component of residence halls. So they are res life, coordinators, they're professionals, they all have master's degree in student affairs, and they oversee our resident assistants, RAs, upper
Mhm.
class students that they hire and they live on the floor. So they're there as they greet the person as soon as they move in, and
Yeah.
they're the first resource that a student can go to. They have activities. They might say, "Hey, we're going to go to dinner." They'll collaborate together, and they might put on events in the area.
Yeah.
Might be like they put succulents together.
Oh, they
Uh,
have like a succulent painting thing. Yeah, I
yes,
remember this now. Yeah.
yeah, see, things start to come back.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of fun stuff, but they're also there to enforce policy, but they're there to act as a resource when there is an issue within the room. So if you and I are together and we're just experiencing some issues, we go to the RA. If the RA is not able to provide assistance, that's where the professional staff step in and they'll make a determination at what needs to happen next. But our job is to help the students build their skills and the tools in their tool case, right? Like
Right.
we want students to learn how to have those difficult conversations.
And to be a good roommate because
Yeah.
that's something like we jokingly, my family and I say that like you're being a bad roommate right now.
Yeah.
And because like it's one of those things you have to have respect for the other person and the
Mhm.
fact that like it's a small room. Like
It is.
the residence hall is my bad. But the rooms are about the size that we're in right now. Like that's a very small space for you to be sharing with. And I'm not saying that our rooms are small. I'm saying that you are a lot of people that come in to Penn State are used to having their own space and
Yes.
or they're sharing it with their family or whomever and now you're sharing it with a stranger.
Yes.
So there's gonna be problems. You don't know this person very well unless you know them already before you move in.
Yep.
So,
And it's also accepting responsibility. So when my student moved in, I was like, you better be cleaning up, your side of the room, not leaving your clothes just
and make your bed every day. Don't do that.
yeah,
Don't do that. I hated when my roommates did not make the bed because it felt the entire room felt very
messy.
unclean.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, guys. But I'm just saying it makes things a little bit easier when you listen. So, I we did talk about living with our friends, so we can jump over to that and into random roommates because I know we said a little bit. So it's just normally like you put it in and you're like, I don't have someone, and it just randomly works. Are there preferences or is it's just randomized?
When we say random, like random, the
Wow.
only thing that we do is we run age checks. We don't want to put a 17-year-old with a
Yeah,
19-year-old.
that
So
that would not be good.
yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem like a huge gap, but at this stage, it is. So that is the one thing that we check is age. But other than that, it is truly random. That we don't look at college, we don't look at major, we don't look at where they're from. We don't have any demographic information in our system, so
Yeah,
r-
that's
it's
completely.
random. And we get a lot of questions. Why don't you ask any roommate preference questions to match? And our experience in this field, we partner with other Big Tens. We know what other schools do, and there's really no concrete data that says a roommate matching provides a better experience for students overall.
Right.
Yeah, so we have as many roommate conflicts with mutual roommates as we do with non-mutual.
Well, look at that. So it
Yes.
doesn't, I mean, it does matter, but at the same time, it doesn't matter how you're living with
Yeah, we
strangers or not.
actually recommend. If you ask me personally, I'm going to say do not live with somebody you know.
Oh, yeah, I can tell you that right
Yeah.
now. I mean, unless you know them and like you like, because I mean, I lived with Camille post living on campus, and she and I did great because we had respect for each other. We knew each other for 3 years before we moved to get together. Um, And we were almost adults at that point. We were in our last year of college. We were ready to, we were applying to, internships, possibly job applications. It was a much different space than coming in first year with someone that you might have known for the last 4 years. You're in a much different headspace.
Yes.
So it's one of those things of like if you don't think that you're gonna see them after graduation, maybe consider not living with them.
Yeah. Well, I always like to point out too, you may not have a lot of people from your high school coming, but maybe there's a couple. Don't live with them because then
Just
you
because they're from your
yeah,
hometown.
but you have somebody to go visit.
Yeah.
I always encourage people not to live with somebody that they know because having somebody where you could go visit them, it gets you out of your room. They're going to meet other people. You're going to expand your social network and you're going to have probably more experiences
That
that
is
way.
such good advice. That is
Can
incredibly
we
good
share that
advice.
really loud with
Yeah,
people?
I'm gonna highlight that on our social pages because that is such good advice.
Yeah.
Because I didn't live with someone I knew. I went in semi-random. I found someone through social media, which I know that that's a thing that people are still doing. Just an FYI, I'm going to make a tangent here. You should never be paying to go onto a Facebook group, an Instagram group, a Snapchat group. If you are paying for it, it is not somewhere you want to be, for one. For two, you're not paying Penn State. So that's not, just keep that in mind. You're paying a random stranger to look at all these people. We're gonna put you with somebody randomly. So like you're gonna have a roommate either way. So don't be putting in your money to people that aren't associated with the university. I cannot scream that enough. Especially in those meet the seniors, trying to make friends, that sort of things. You will meet friends here. do not spend your money on that sort of thing. I know we kind of went off on a tangent there, but I feel very strongly about that.
It is an
So
excellent point. Yes.
don't spend your money. You can spend that money on ice cream here at Penn State instead, because that's a much better use for your money. So yeah, no, I kind of lost my tangent there because I got on there, but yeah, no, visiting, yes, that's a great one. Especially because my brother and I were on Barron campus very briefly at the same time. And I got to see his room, and he came to see me, and we got to,
Yeah.
and I've obviously that's different because we know each other. We grew up with one another. We're in the family. But it's still one of those things of you're getting to meet other people because you're visiting them
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else. And that goes to any campus. Like you are going to a different residence hall, or maybe you're meeting up with them in the dining commons because like, let's go meet at this dining commons, bring your roommate. We'll have a time. Because we did that. We would meet some of our roommates at the dining commons, and then we would make friends with their friends. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that
Yes.
is I remember this vividly because I remember one of my friends at the time, he had broken his arm like maybe 2, 3 weeks in, and I remember my roommate was like redoing the gauze before he actually went and got the cast on. But we would just hang out watching football and stuff like that. And I met these people through other roommates, which is wild. So I'm very much in agreement on that advice fully. So speaking of rooms, I also feel very passionately about this. Let's talk about what comes in the room because I see it online all the time. I saw someone, they're like, I got a pink microwave and a pink fridge to go in my room. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Because most times there's already one there.
Yes. So obviously, we provide a bed, a dresser, or drawers, depending on the space, a desk and chair,
Right?
a place to hang your clothes. It
Right?
could be a built in closet, it could be a wardrobe. But yes, we do provide, it's called a micro fridge. It
Right?
is a refrigerator, freezer, microwave unit. There is no additional cost for it.
You're paying for it when you pay for the room.
Yes.
So don't spend more money.
Well, and it's not a benefit or an amenity that many universities provide anymore.
Really?
You usually have to rent them or bring your own.
That's wild.
So I think that's really awesome that we're still able to do that given the amount of rooms that we
Yeah.
have and how many units. But it's a nice feature for students. Also, it helps with the electrical load because
Mm.
it's a special unit that if you turn the microwave off, or you turn the microwave on, it kind of limits the power to the fridge and freezer so we don't overload our circuits.
That's super nice.
That's why we provide it.
Yeah, so that's a big shout out. Please do not do that because you will cause problems for everyone else.
Yes, we don't like to see when we get trip breakers that trip.
Yeah, don't be that person. Don't be that person. Maintenance will not be your friend. And that's another reason why we do tell you don't bring those things because if something were to happen to the unit, or heaven forbid that something bad happened to the microwave, or like one of those things, like maintenance can't come out and fix it. Or if you accidentally cause a fire or something, like I said, heaven forbid, and that's your personal property, you can get in a lot of trouble because you weren't
Yes.
supposed to have it. That also goes for toasters and other things we're not supposed to have, which come in the contract. So make sure you are reading that. Candles are not cool, guys. I know they smell good. Bath and Body Works is great, but they also have room fresheners and things like that. Do not bring candles. I'm telling you that right now. I have had so many spilled wax stories from friends in college that it could not be good. I'm telling you that right now. Don't do it.
Yeah,
It's
we
not
get
worth
a
it.
lot of air fryers, and if they're shipped to a student, we'll intercept it and we return to sender.
Oh my gosh.
So we have a long list of prohibited items, and yeah, we strongly encourage students to know what those are because
Yeah.
if we
Did you
catch
hear
it,
that? No air fryers. Don't try to send
no
one.
portable AC units, no e-scooters. Yeah,
Yeah.
we see it, it goes back.
Yeah, no, I could go on about the
Yeah,
e-scooters, guys.
that's a whole other
That's a
podcast.
whole other podcast. Especially since we have some of those facilities on campus for you to use. That means that you don't have to bring it into your dorm room. I'm sorry. I'm so bad. Ignore me. Um, Just not a dorm, I promise. So I here's another one because this has big concerns for a lot of people. You're in a mass building with a lot of different people, and I mentioned fires and things like that. And I remember having to go into like people would burn popcorn and
Mm.
the fire alarms would go off and things like that. So I was glad that they were working, but it was really annoying. But let's talk a little bit about safety in the residence halls and just on campuses in general.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, all of our buildings have a sprinkler system and and an integrated fire alarm system.
Mhm.
So that means that it's all interconnected and it is tied directly to university police dispatch and our local fire company.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And if we have a community kitchen, it has a hood system and a fire suppression system. So if you're cooking something and you burn and cause a fire on the stove, the suppression system will release. So we do have a lot of protections in
That's
place.
so cool
Yes.
because I was going for one of the residence halls on move-in day, and I remember seeing the communal kitchen. And I was like, we didn't have one of those in my residence hall my first
Mhm.
year, but I had one in the apartments that were from the university. But I knew like Ohio Hall on Barron also has one, and I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, the community kitchens have them, not the individual apartments, but the
Yeah,
community kitchens do have that, integrate the hood integration system.
that is so cool.
Yeah, and, so there are sprinklers in every room, and we do have the sprinkler heads have a little sticker with a "Do not hang on" because you can easily set them off, and,
Don't touch them.
yes, we don't need to have a flood in the floor, but
That's so funny because my first year of school, we had a pipe break in my dorm,
Yep.
in my room, and, everything got wet.
Mhm.
Everything got wet, and it was not fun. So, as someone who's been through that experience, do not hang things on the sprinklers.
Yes. Yeah, they can be broken just by even a gummy bear, so they're sensitive. But we do have a camera system within our buildings, but only in public space. So we
Yeah.
don't want to see people in the bathroom or walking into their bedroom.
No one needs to see
No, we
that.
don't need to see that. But in the common area space, our buildings are locked 24 hours a day with an electronic security system.
Yeah.
And our residence hall room doors are now a wireless entry. So students can use their Penn State credentials that's on
Mhm.
their mobile phone to gain access to that building and to their room. So it's all based on the student. So you can't just randomly go into any residence hall.
Yeah, I remember that because we had our IDs, and I know that that's going away because we have this going to most of the campuses, if not all of them. So that leads into a good question of what happens if your phone's dead?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, University Park is going mobile first this
Mhm.
semester. And actually, this week, all upper class students had some of their IDs decommissioned
Really?
so we could focus on the mobile first.
Wow.
Yeah, so we made that transition. The campuses have already been mobile first for a couple years, so it's a very popular program. It's very well received. So that means that you have one credential,
Mhm.
which would be your mobile phone. We do allow students if they have an Apple Watch or the Samsung Watch,
Yeah.
you can also have it on there, and it's very convenient, right? You just put it right up
Yep. I
to.
have used Apple Pay so many
Yes,
times.
yes. But, yeah, it's very easy to let your device, if not paying attention, I think my device is probably, like, on 20% right now, but, it's based on the antenna. It's
Oh.
in the phone, so, many students don't realize your phone could be dead, but you can still hold it up to the device, and it's going to connect to that antenna and still work.
Are y'all hearing this?
That's a
That's
cr it's yes,
wild.
yes, we're like, "We need to somehow get this out to people that
Yeah.
your phone could be dead, but it's still going to unlock your door."
Oh my
I mean, you
gosh.
don't wanna rely on it
No,
forever like that.
obviously, but because when I found out that this was a thing, I was like, what happens if your phone's dead?
Well,
Or you don't have your phone?
that is probably not as high of a of a situation as we have lockouts.
That's
So,
another thing.
yeah,
I
so
remember being locked out because my roommate left while I was going to the shower, and I got locked out in
yes,
a towel. It was
yes.
not good.
Yes, those are never fun situations, and our doors cannot be left unlocked.
Mhm.
So every time you leave your room, you have to have your mobile
Yeah.
with you. You cannot get back in. The Commons desk is an operation that's open, and we have one in every housing area. It's in the Commons building where the food services is, and
Yeah.
they're open 24 hours a day. And you can go sign out a 2-hour lockout card.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
no charge unless you keep it past the 2 hours.
Okay, that makes
So,
sense.
if you do, forget your phone, you went to the bathroom, you can run down to the desk and you can sign one out. We do see people in towels, unfortunately.
I remember that. I have video evidence of that
Yeah.
situation because I had to go to a roommate, and not a roommate, but someone across the hall is like, "Can you please save my dignity?"
Well, we won't give it out to anybody other than the student.
Yeah,
And that's for their protection. A lot of people get upset with us, but you wouldn't want us to give it out to somebody who's saying
right.
that they're getting it for you and they're not, and they go
Right.
in and take something of yours or do something
Yeah, that would
bad.
be bad.
So we're a little bit strict with it, but it's for the protection of the student at the end of the
So
day.
it sounds like a good recommendation, and you're bringing your stuff to school is like a robe or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes.
So, and just to be safe, I know that sounds crazy, but as someone who's been in that situation, it's so awkward, especially if you have to talk to somebody or like the janitor comes by with a key. Like, obviously, that was a different time, but still not fun. Don't recommend it. And
Yes.
especially in a day and age where everybody has phones, that is the last thing you want to be in a situation with. So, all right, we can move right along because I can talk about that all day long. I have too many horror stories. And we're trying to get you to come to University Park and Penn State. We're not trying to drive you away.
Yeah.
We're trying to give you the information available. So don't be me.
This doesn't happen like all the time either. It's not so,
Right,
yeah.
but
We see it in the beginning of the semester because it's an adjustment. But once you know that you can't get back in your room, you're going to probably remember your
Right.
device.
Right. And with 15,000 people, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. All right. So, here's a good one because I also had experience with this. I had one of my neighbors in my residence hall had a prosthetic. So, she had different accommodations and had to have a specific room and all these other things because of that. So if someone is in the same situation, how do they go about like how does the process look? Because obviously, whenever they're doing their application and stuff like that, and they accept their offer, I'm assuming that there's not really like a space for that on the pages and stuff.
Yeah, so at the university, we have student disability resources, which will help a student with academic accommodations. Anything related to housing actually comes through my office. So we have a process outlined on our Live On website for accommodations, and there's a form that the student's medical provider would fill out and indicate what is needed for the student to be successful. And that goes through a review process with our medical team on campus. And we'll make that determination in our system. We'll indicate it on the student account, send a letter saying this is what you've been approved for, and then we ensure that as long as the student lives on campus, they have the accommodation that they need. So whether it be that they're in a room that's a single room, we have students who might need a second fridge for their
Okay.
medication, or allergy or dietary needs.
Right.
They might need access to air conditioning, access to a private use bathroom, whatever that is. We'll keep that on file. We don't record the medical condition,
Right.
just what they
But just
need.
what they need,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, we want to protect
Right.
their information. But
Yes.
yeah, we it's very limited to who sees that process.
Yeah, which is good because as someone who has multiple different things, I also have hearing loss. Fun fact about me, you guys are learning so much about me today. I rely on my people around me to make sure that I get out of those situations because I have slept through fire alarms before because of my hearing loss, and I'm just a really deep sleeper. So that doesn't make anything any better. So I do know that that's a concern for a lot of people. So there we have the people.
Yes, and we
To do
will.
that.
Yep, we're happy to do that.
Perfect, which is great. So don't feel awkward about it because it sounds like they deal with it a lot,
Yes.
which is, but again, 15,000 people.
Yeah.
So, this is a really good one because I have seen people. So let's say that someone's an international student and that they're living on campus and they aren't going home over winter break and they're going to be here for spring and they're going to be in the same situation. Can they stay on campus still?
So, the university housing closes 3 times. We have fall break, then between fall and spring semester, and spring break. And during those times, we do expect students to leave. You don't have to take all your
You
stuff.
don't got to go.
We've been asked that
But you
question
can't
many
stay.
times. I'm like, no, you don't need to move out, but you can't stay. But then on the other hand, we know we have students who they are not able to leave. They don't want to leave for whatever reason. They might
Maybe
have
they have an internship, a job, something like
student
that.
teaching,
Yeah.
employment. They want to stay. So we have what we call break access holiday housing. It's designated buildings that remain open. It is an additional fee for the service, but you can stay in your permanent room during the 3 closures.
Nice.
So we staff the building. They don't have to move, but we have to know well in advance that that's needed so we can place the student. We don't offer temporary space during the breaks. So that can be challenging for somebody who comes to us late in the process and says, I can't leave. If we don't have a vacancy in one of those buildings, we're not able to accommodate them. So
Got it.
it is available as a living learning community selection, or a student can email us and say, hey, I need break access. Can you make sure I'm assigned?
Yeah. So that sounds like something that when you're accepting your application, if you know that this is a concern, you can talk to anybody on housing to kind of figure that out. I know that a lot of people on housing are very, very kind people that just want to make sure that you're having the best experience possible within any campus at Penn State. So never be hesitant to reach out. And even if you don't know where to go, you can email us at admissions@psu.edu and we will get you to where you need to be. So that is the case for every single podcast and every single question that you might have. If you don't know who you need to talk to, come talk to me. We'll figure it out together. All right. Oh, this is a good one because my sister and I did this whenever I visited her at University Park. What are the rules around guests staying in my room while I'm there?
Yeah. So we do allow students to have guests, but
But big caveat here, guys.
yeah,
Listen in.
the roommate has to fully consent to that person being in the space. And it is for a maximum of 3 nights. And they can't stay with one person and then for 3 nights and then go to a different room for 3 nights. Like,
Yeah.
that's not permitted. But we are really enforcing that or emphasizing the fact that you cannot bring somebody into your room if your roommate is not okay with it.
Or if
So
your roommate isn't there and they don't know about it.
correct. Yes.
Like giving just a quick text heads up, like, hey, so and so is in the room. That's always good because you don't know where they are. Like I remember my first year, my roommate had a partner and she was bringing them in, and I would just come in from studying, and they were just there. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the common space because it was awkward and I had no idea about it. So sometimes it happens and, like, I adore, the person I lived with. I still talk to her this to this day, but still that was a, like, very weird situation to be in. So just be considerate of the other person you're living with and make sure you're talking about this, especially when you have like family that wants to come stay for, like, if you're at University Park example, if they want to come to a football weekend, great, but make sure you're talking about it with your roommate and saying, hey, you cool with this?
Well, and honestly, those rooms are so
I
tiny.
slept on a floor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we don't have cots or anything anymore.
Right.
So you're either gonna be sleeping
Floor,
or sleeping in a twin bed with somebody, and
which is
that's
not, I don't
no,
recommend it. I
no.
do not recommend it. But yeah, like I said, we had a concert to BJC the one time and I slept on, well, I can't remember the residence hall name, but it was in Pollock and it was the one across from the shrine. If you know which one that is.
That would be in West,
Okay.
and that would be McKee Hall.
Ah, see, that's what it is. See, I walked by Pollock the other day and my brain's just like,
You're on
Pollock.
Pollock. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, I slept
Yeah.
on that floor. I don't recommend it.
Nope,
Sleeping on
hard
floors is not
linoleum.
fun.
Yeah.
Very hard linoleum, not fun. All right. Well, I think we have got through all of our questions except for one. So we will wrap out with that one, which is any advice to families as they prepare for living on campus?
So I love to be able to answer this because I sent my daughter here. You know,
Mhm.
she was a first year student a couple years ago, and um, it is a very challenging time for the student as well as the parent to make this transition. And we found ourselves in the situation where she would call home upset about something, crying, just, tumbling on
Yeah.
words, right? And my instinct as a mom is mama bear, I'm going to go take care of
Right.
this. I'm going to call somebody. I'm going after this. But that's not what we need to do.
Yeah.
So it was an adjustment for me to take a step back because she just needed to release those emotions because she didn't have that on campus.
Wasn't looking for someone to do it, but someone to hear her out so that
Yes.
she can figure it out.
Yes. And so she just wanted to cry it out, get it out of her system, and then she needed to decide the path that she
Right.
needed to take. I was just there as a listening board, and that is a really hard thing to
As a guardian, as a parent,
yes,
as someone who
yes.
cares,
And we
hearing someone that you love
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
they're
situation.
struggling and it's something like maybe I've been in that situation or it's something I know how to help uh, but I had to resist that urge to do that. So when we hear a parent or a guardian call and it's very hard for us to be like, we really need to talk to your student.
Right.
Let us help your
You're not
student.
the one in the situation
Yes,
here.
and
You're
that's
an
what we
observer.
yes, and that's what we want. We want to work with the student to help them learn how to navigate those difficult
Right. And
situations.
that's such a great point because I mean, that's a independence thing. And that's a big part of coming into college is learning how to be independent and living on your own for the first time for a lot of these
Mhm.
students and trying to navigate it and learn how to do things and handle things on your own because it's the equivalent to being upset because hey, my rent is due and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I need to navigate this and I can't just sit here and be like, okay, I'm just going to ignore it. Maybe it'll go away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can't do
And
that.
it's really great to see students learn how to advocate for themselves. And, that's part of our mission, right? We're here to educate and teach. And so it is rewarding when we have that opportunity. And I think as even adults, I sometimes call my mother and cry about something.
Right.
But I don't expect her to do anything
My
about
mom
it.
is 3 hours away and I call her all the time and I'm
Yeah.
like, I am not well, but I will be and it'll be okay.
You just need that emotional connection with somebody.
And familiar.
Yeah, yeah, and then so I think that would be my biggest advice to the support network of the student is understanding the changing dynamics of coming to a higher
Right.
education.
Right. And just be a sounding board. Don't be trying to put out fires. You can be a firefighter all day, but you can't do it from a couple 100 miles away.
Well, even if they're here,
Yeah, even if you're yeah,
yeah, even if you're
even if
here,
you're
you're not.
here,
Yeah,
let them be. Like I
yeah.
know like it is so easy to want to jump in and play the rescue card even if you're here or you're there or whatever. But that's a part of the experience is and I hate to say it, but sometimes that's just how it is and you got to
Well,
learn.
unfortunately, we do have to follow FERPA,
Yep.
and sometimes we may not be able to even disclose anything,
Right,
and that makes
especially when they're 18.
yeah.
It's like,
Well, it yeah, it just it makes it
right.
really makes it challenging
Yeah.
sometimes.
They're on their own once they get here. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to talk to them as much as you want, like relinquish some control a little bit here. Let them do as they need to. And I think one of my biggest takeaways that I can give advice for as someone who recently did go through college, um, it is not going to be this massive thing that you think it is. Like it is, yes, it seems like it's the end all be all. And my comforter doesn't match. It's not here on time and the pictures aren't on the walls and I'm not doing any of I don't those are not the pieces that I remember the most. And I remember the school, I remember the studying, I remember the friends. I remember my friends bringing me an ice cream cake on my birthday in my first year. And that was immensely like just the community of it. Those are the parts that matter. What is in your room is not the important part, and who is in your room is the important part. So that's my big takeaway for that, and just keeping that in mind as we wrap this up. So, well, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
It was such a great time chatting with you. I could
Yes.
chat all day if I possibly could, especially about housing. And we can, if you ever have any questions, you can give them to me. I can get them to anyone on Jennifer's team.
Absolutely. We want to hear from folks. We want to help them answer questions. So
Yeah.
we're available.
Yeah. So where can they find, if they need assistance, where can they go to find that?
Sure. So our website is liveon@psu.edu. Our email is liveon@psu.edu. And that can get you to any campus within our system.
Short and
So,
sweet, to the point.
yes,
I love
yes.
that.
You land on there, you select which campus you need assistance, and it's all there.
Great. And then if you ever have questions, like I said, admissions at psu.edu, or you can get us at PSU admissions anywhere that there's an ad symbol for social media. So thank you again. And
Yes, thank
we hope
you.
that you had a great time listening, and we'll see you guys next time.